Thank you so much, Jay, for a very insightful session. I would now like to introduce Thor from Databricks as our next speaker.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Obviously, it's a huge, exciting moment for us because we are at the beginning of a completely new era. You've probably heard about the generative AI. But as the foundation for the generative AI, you need good data, and this is where dbt comes in. It's so important. So every company out there wants to become a data and AI company. Some are more or less there. Some still have a bit of leeway to go. And I would say the challenge that we have is that in order to become a data and AI company, you need to understand your data. You need to have good, solid data. If your data is not there, if it's not good quality, everything else will suffer from there. And that will jeopardize any goal you have, including AI and machine learning. So we obviously know data engineering is messy. I mean, you can do this in 50 billion different ways, and 49 billion of those are not good. So basically, you have lots of data coming in, you work with your data, you need to get it into a format where you can use it for your streaming analytics, for your BI, you can use it for your data science, and this is the foundation that your business is based on, so this is really important to get right. And this is where dbt comes in, because dbt will allow a company to work through their data in a simple, manageable way. I mean, we've got a lot of different ways to do data engineering. dbt is absolutely one of my favorites because you can work with this, you have the visualization, and more importantly, you can pull down the complexity into something that's manageable. And with dbt Cloud and the announcements that we've just heard, this has gotten even easier. And Databricks is completely behind. We're fully integrated, and we are supporting this motion going forward. So, just to sort of like set the scene, like in the olden days, databases and data warehouses were very much used in order to study what had happened. You had the data coming in, you try to understand what actually happened. Why does this happen? How does it affect my business? And that was very much the warehouse bit. Then you had Hadoop and data lakes coming in, and they were much focused on like the streaming, the live data, but also about like looking forward, trying to figure out what will happen, and more importantly, how can we affect what will happen. And those two worlds did not communicate. Literally, the Hadoop teams and the traditional warehouse teams would sit in different ends of the building, and they would not talk, and they would be proud of that. It was ridiculous. Now, where we have is Databricks, what we see is like, okay, we need to bring it all together. And this is where the Lakehouse comes in. It's like, we need to work with the complex, non-structured data types, audio, video, log files, but we need to have it coexist with the traditional tables and columns that you have in the data warehouse space. And more importantly, it needs to be governed in one go. You can't have separate governance models for everything. But governance goes well beyond just the data. When we're doing models, when we're doing AI, all of this needs to be governed, again, by a single framework, because that's the only way that you know what you've got, but it's also the only way you can share it with other people. So this is where the Lakehouse platforms come in. Like, we've obviously got the Delta Lake, which is our storage format. We're very pleased and proud to know that with Databricks Fabric, they've basically replicated this, and we're very proud that our way, the way that we started out 10 years ago, has now become the default for the future of Azure. Unity Catalog, this is where the governance comes in, because governance is not just about access control, it's not just about PII, but those are so important, and we need to get those right. It's also about how do you work, how do you share, how do you create visibility, and this is where all of this comes together. We've got the warehousing, engineering, you've got the streaming, we've got the AI, and it needs to work in a single harmonized platform. But we also have lots of different people. Like, lots of different people are working with this. Different types of people. Some people are like hardcore programmers. Other people like to do a little bit of modeling, a little bit of SQL, and other people, again, have the data science bit. And this is the other thing that we focus on, including with DBT, is to bring everybody together, regardless of their skill set. So the other challenge, clearly, is cost. I mean, these things cost a lot of money, and we have to accept that. Now, where we can come in is that we can significantly reduce that cost. So when you want to do your petabyte machine learning model, or you want to do like large-scale ETL, you need to be able to scale up and scale down. And this is something that we have really worked hard on over the last few years. Scaling up and down very, very quickly becomes much more cost-effective than if you go with a traditional data warehouse model. So Unity Catalog, again, you need to have a single governance model. And it's not just across your different business units, there's also different tools, your different partners, and this is really key. And we also know, I mean, Databricks, we're an open platform. We know that we're not like alone. You don't go and do Databricks just for doing Databricks. Databricks is part of a larger ecosystem. And that includes the cloud providers, it includes our colleagues at Snowflake. Everybody's part of this, and this is key. If we're not open, if we're not collaborating, it doesn't work. But governance is still key. So Lakehouse Federation is a new product that we announced a couple of months ago, and this is wherever your data is stored, we can still access it and govern it from a central place. So if your data is in Azure, or it's in GCP, or it's in Snowflake, or it's in Databricks, doesn't matter. We all can collaborate under a single governance model and umbrella. Partners, without partners, Databricks is nothing. I mean, yes, Databricks is wonderful, but we do need our partners, and DBT is a key partner for us. We're also looking very clearly on lots of different types of technology. We're looking at like the BI layer, and obviously the machine learning and AI. And this is part of that ecosystem. So an example, we're working with Zurich. Now, Zurich had the traditional problem that I mentioned before, is that they had their data warehouse team, and they had their data lake, and that was just not working. There was no collaboration, and when there was collaboration, it ended in disaster. So we really wanted to make sure that we got their data estate settled, because without that, all of their AI and machine learning plans that they had would not have been able to materialize. So what we did, we started out like, okay, we've obviously got the data sources, we've got this was sort of a blank slate. This was what they really wanted. And what we then did was that we filled it in. And as you can see here, we have a very large ecosystem, like lots of different technologies, different like streaming, could be live data, could be batch, whatever. We got it into a single platform, and that enabled all of their different departments to work together, and DBT was absolutely key, because without DBT, this would have taken 3 or 4 times as long. With DBT, we enabled the customer to come in, and within a few weeks even, start to get this into a shape that was usable and productive for the whole business. So we love DBT. I mean, we're open source, DBT is open source, what's not to love? So clearly, if you have, like, if you like open systems, if you want to work in an open ecosystem, then DBT and Databricks is the right partnership. We can also see that, like over the last, even months, we've seen an explosive growth of the people of our customers who are using DBT on Databricks. And I mean, you can see this graph. This is only the beginning. DBT is here to stay with us alongside our journey and your journey. And you can see, got lots of different people who are currently happily using DBT and Databricks together. We're very happy to talk more about this. So if you want to swing by our booth afterwards in the break, we believe that there is also ice cream involved. But thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Thor. A fantastic session, and we always love our partners and to hear all the work they're doing with DBT. Now that wraps up our keynote session this morning, and I cannot wait for the day ahead. Thank you, Heidi and Sai, for traveling. I don't think you're the only people who have traveled here, so thank you. And to our leadership team, our hosts at the Royal Lancaster, and everyone on the organising team who have made this year possible. Thank you to our amazing sponsors, Snowflake, Databricks, Infinite Lambda, and Datafold. And a huge shout out to Snowflake and Databricks to their overall support for Coalesce 2023. Above all, thank you to all our attendees taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here today. We are hosting events like this, and we are excited to share how we can engage with you in person more next year. First, join a local meetup near you. These are a great way to engage with local practitioners on a regular basis. I'm also very excited to share that next year, Coalesce is going to be in Las Vegas. We're heading to Las Vegas in October, and registration is now open, so it's up to you if you want to register. While we won't be hosting Coalesce in London the same week, we are hosting a spring event roadshow, and we're going around the world next year, including multiple cities across Europe, and we can't wait to come and see you all again. As a reminder, you are getting a sneak peek at several new product enhancements throughout the day. So once again, please do not share on social media or on any Slack channels until 6:30 p.m. tonight. So we're just about to go on a break, but a few reminders before I let you go. On the ground floor, you will have the opportunity to meet our great sponsors, talk with our team members, and even troubleshoot some questions that may have risen from today's session. This evening, we're hosting a networking drinks, which I hope to see everyone there. And this room will be closed for the next 30 minutes before we come back here and into our next sessions, and it will be broken into 2 separate rooms. If you are joining the Infinite Lambda training session, getting started with the dbt Cloud semantic layer, as a reminder, you must register for the session, and if you are not yet registered, there is a couple of spots left, so run quick, but you can sign up at the registration desk. Conversations will continue on our Slack channel, as you can see on the screen here. And please, if you haven't already done so, download the app, and this is where you can share some feedback, because the only way we will continue to learn is some feedback from yourselves. Thank you again for joining us today.